Good afternoon, everyone. It is December 4th, 2023, and we finished off with a pretty interesting session here. So, this is the full external trading hours of the ES, and you can see overnight we opened at 46.03 ish and virtually pretty much zero trade above there, and instead just slid down the entire time. Europe opened, got some bids, however, that was quickly sold off even more into the open, and we actually got into almost the previous day's low before the open. On the Nasdaq, we did actually manage to break that prior day's low during Globex. Uh, where is that? Right around here. So a pretty notable sell today on the ES and the Nasdaq, more so the NQ. Uh, the other indices, here's the Russell, managed to actually break and close above the prior day's high, that Friday high, where it did have some huge bids showing up. The Dow still very bid, didn't take out the prior day's high, but it was an inside day with a green close. Here is the Nasdaq, and here is the S&P. You can see the Nasdaq got into this gap area and found bids, and I think that's just a testament to how many people are trapped short in this thing. And similarly, on the S&P, I mean, we've come down to this. This is roughly 55-ish on ES. We've come down to this spot like what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and we keep finding bids. I think, and if you're looking on a footprint chart or something, or some sort of more detailed chart, you can see that people just keep getting these sellers just keep getting stuff down there. So I want to speak about the Nasdaq for just another second here. Go to a 30-minute chart. Here was the open. Where are you? Here was the open. 15,863 ish. You can see we pretty much didn't trade above it. The opening range was pretty tight, and then we sold off very heavily, made our way back, unable to make a new high, sold off again, churned around for a couple hours, and then the high closes. I assume some shorts unwound their position. But overall, just no real upward movement. Unable to I don't even think this was. I don't even think we're able to retrace half of the Globex move. There you go, 873. So we got to half of the Globex move. The Nasdaq continues to just lag significantly. This is in contrast to the ES, which here was the open, down at 66-ish. It opened below value area low, much like the Nasdaq did. However, yeah, it took out the prior's low at 62s, but it came back to that 55 spot and once again stayed bid and managed to make it above the open there at 66. That ended up being support for the rest of the session. Once we had that short covering after the euro close, we didn't make a new high of the day immediately, but it did use that open as support, and we had that covers into the close. So to me, it makes sense to still look at the ES as the long ticker, the Nasdaq as the short ticker, and be a little bit, or maybe a lot of bit, hesitant on getting short the ES or getting long the Nasdaq. I think it's just a little bit too dangerous of a play. Let's get into what I'm actually looking for tomorrow. This market's going to open in a couple minutes. Let's go to a 15-minute chart here. So this is the Nasdaq here. Here's the gap down here. These are today's lows. That was the low, the prior gap low, I suppose, the CPI low. We've reclaimed this area, this kind of balanced lows. This is, I think the cash and the futures have managed to change quite a bit. This was 840 to 820 in the past. Now it's way lower than that. But anyway, here are the balanced lows we've managed to reclaim. We saw that hold during the midday. And here are the Thursday lows and Friday lows, kind of the highs of this balance area as well. So if we're able to break today's highs, if we break today's highs, I'm going to look for us to get up to here. If this was roughly, gotta open up another chart. What would that be? Settlement highs, kind of? Thursday's highs, roughly? Eh, it's a little bit lower than Thursday's highs, but it's clearly a zone of interest. This is going to be the primary area I'm interested in. This is settlement highs. This is an important level. I would expect selling to come in somewhere around here, and I don't think we'll be taking out this sort of area. I don't think this sort of balance will be taken out. I'll be looking for shorts either here or here. On the S&P, a little bit of a clearer story. 15-minute chart. Here we go. There we go. This is roughly corresponding to something like 45.80 or so, if we are able to stay above settlement lows. So that'll be right around here, I believe, right? Yeah. If we're able to stay above that, which also puts us comfortably within value area, that puts us within the weekly open. If we're able to stay above that number, I'll look for us to rotate above today's highs, get into that 45.80 spot. Maybe we get a temporary seller there. This is roughly that 45.80 spot. Maybe we get a temporary seller. But overall, I'm going to look for us to get back into that prior month's high. Maybe that holds. Again, I don't want to be short. Yes, if anything, I would imagine we end up coming to sort of Friday's highs, last week's high, something around there, maybe 46.01-ish. That's the weekly close there, something around there. So that's how I'm looking at it. Hold above whatever that is. Settlement lows 45.62-ish, value area low around there, the weekly open around there. If you hold all of that, if we keep all of that naked, I imagine we will break these highs and rotate up to the prior month's highs there. Otherwise, I'm looking for us to sell this area, get into 55s again, and I think that low of the day will break. However, if we find bids here or not, I'm not too sure for the 8th time now. Anyway, hope that makes sense. Hope that helps. Have a great night. Trade safe.